All right, there we are. Morning. How's everyone doing? Give me a thumbs up or a like if you can hear me. Just making sure this is my first time doing it on my own. So, can everybody hear me? Let's see. All right, now I see you guys commenting. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. So it's my first time doing it live by myself, so we'll see how we do. Who's out fishing right now? Let's hear some fishing reports. It was pretty good this morning. We did really well today, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, does anybody have any questions about anything? Anybody on the water right now? I'd love to hear from you guys. It's pretty good today. So yeah, let's let everybody get signed in and start following here. And this Lake Superior South Shore count? It counts for me. How's it going out there, early bird? So yeah, the Kings are still here. Everybody was a little worried, with that weather we had during the week with those nasty north winds, and it was rough. So we had such good fishing leading up to it that we thought, well, we had some cold water here. Now we're not going to have that cold water. What's going to happen? So all day yesterday, people were calling the shop asking me for fishing reports, and unfortunately, when the weather's like that, I don't get too many fishing reports. So, but today was pretty nice. It started off a little rolly out there, and then settled down, but not too calm. So it was pretty good. But let's get takes care of some of the business first. Um, let's see. Cold water got pushed into near the iron. Let's do this. All right. So Kings and Browns are in the staging area. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. So hopefully they'll be staging here soon. So, anyways, we'll take care of some business. We'll kind of make it a quick one. Kyle says, I tried an Indiana pier on Thursday, had some cold water, got blown off too rough. All right. Well, pretty soon we'll have some fish, and actually, from the forecast I was seeing, there was a lot of south winds coming up this coming week. So, you might see some cold water again, whether it's in our area or Indiana. Um, it's a little early for stagers in our area here, but you never know. I have caught them this early before, so it's worth a shot. Worth catching some fish from shore if you can, or if you're in a kayak, they might be in range for that. So, morning everybody. Good morning, Rob. So, anyways, we'll talk brawl first. The signups for the brawl are open now. So if you're considering getting into the August 16th brawl, now is the time to do it. You can go on LakeMichiganAngler.com, fill out the form on there, and then you can either pay me in cash in the shop if you're local here, or what I'll do is send you a PayPal request for the money to get on that. But yeah, that's open. And as far as other stuff in the store goes, this was a little bit slower week for bringing stuff in. We're getting that time of the year where not a ton of new stuff's coming in, but we spooled up a bunch of Catalinas here. So if you're looking to get a really solid copper reel, we've got a bunch of them spooled up with copper here. Been spooling reels all week, and I've got more stuff coming. I think tomorrow or Monday I'm getting a big shipment of more rods, more reels, more boards, all that kind of stuff. There's a giant order of plugs coming. So we'll be stocking up on that, and then before you know it, we'll be in the custom crankbait time, custom reef runners and flicker sheds. So keep an eye out for that. What times in the morning are working best right now in feet of water and lure depths? Are you fishing early in the morning? At what time in the morning are you moving deeper, and when? Well, I think I'll get into that in our fishing report, but pretty much just we're looking for where the cold water starts. That's a little tougher if you don't have a fish hawk or another probe, but that's what we did this morning. We went into this morning not really knowing what was going on. Early in the week was unbelievable fishing, and I'll get into that. But basically, what I do is, if you get into some quick action and you're catching fish right away, and then it slows down, probably around 7:38ish is when I might head out deeper. Now, for me personally, I end up fishing before work. I never get to fish past 8 o'clock, so I'm almost the wrong person to ask about that. Um, the but yeah, so I'll get into how we tackled our fishing report from today, and I'll kind of give you an idea. Today was like an east and west bite for us for the most part. Let's see. Lex says, "Are the fish still biting on the pier heads?" I haven't really heard of much over here in our area, especially with the weather the last couple of days. Northeast winds at 20 and 25 miles an hour kind of killed shore fishing and boat fishing. So uh, I think, though, we might get cold water. I kind of saying the same thing over and over again, but we'll take it from there. Actually, I think we'll just get into my fishing report. Like I said, it was a little bit slower week in the shop today, or this week, but fishing was fantastic. So to start off the week, we got out on the Migrator on Tuesday morning, fishing out of North Point. It was pretty cool. That's where that picture, the thumbnail for this video is from. So we were fishing, basically just went straight out, set lines like 70, 75 feet, and just trolled north. And we set lines about 4:15, and we were done at 6:15 with a dozen kings. Just really fast action. We had one right away in the setup, slowed down for a little bit, and then it was game on after that with doubles and triples. It was pretty cool. We were actually filming a segment for In Fisherman. So that was pretty cool, and we would have kept fishing, but the cameraman said we've got enough footage and it's time to go in, so we couldn't fun fish after that. But we were fishing mainly, we started in 75, we got out to about 85. Every rod got bit at least once. We never once had to change baits or anything. So it was pretty cool. On that day, we were running mostly 200 coppers, 300 coppers. We had 10 color out. We had 2 wire divers out. We had 4 riggers out. There might have been one other long line. I don't remember what it was, probably a copper, but mostly moonshine spoons and flashers and flies. So we had a white Megatron out with a bullfrog. We had a white Pro Troll out. We had a chrome Dragon Lady Stinger flasher out there. Everything got bit. It was incredible. I think the biggest fish of the day was about 18 pounds. So that was pretty nice. That was the last fish. Like, they were biting all the way until we pulled lines. And we probably would have kept catching them for at least a little while after that. So that was pretty cool. The next day, though, that's when the wind kicked up. So we had nasty northeast winds. It was pretty rough. If you couldn't see the lake during those days, there was really nobody out fishing. So all week, everybody was afraid of what the fishing was going to do. So luckily, though, the fish were still around. So this morning we went out and we just assumed that they'd be deeper, which they were, although we didn't start shallower. Maybe we could have caught fish shallower, but there's a lot of stacked up warm water right now. So fish down 90 feet, or actually the temperature down 90 feet is where it finally hits 50 degrees. And we started in 120 and just kind of angled out from there. And we started catching kings. We caught 2 kings pretty quick in the early 130, but maybe 125 to 130. And it went through a little lull. The first one was on a rigger, and the second one was on a copper. And then we went a little further. We made it out to 150. We were kind of got a few fish on that turn as we turned back around to get back into 130. And on that turn, we took a fish. And on the way in, we were pretty steadily catching fish. Made another loop at 130, started heading out, and then straightened out, kind of leveled in the 150s, and pretty much caught fish all over in there. We were just running long coppers. We had wire divers out. The wire divers didn't get hit right away. Eventually, we put them out with meat rigs. We put out a white spin doctor with a bullfrog musclehead, and that took a nice king. But coppers caught most of the fish. We had a few on downriggers, but like the SWR took a couple fish with the glovin. That was down 110. So the cold water's down there deep. We had a white Pro Troll on the other rigger. That took a few bites. And then the long coppers, pretty much we were running a 450 and a 300 on one side of the boat, and the other side of the boat was a 3 and a 4 as well. So we were just running super long coppers, and that was the best. So we had the clutch toad out there that was taking fish. The moonshine on the 450, that was I think that might have been our best spoon today. So I don't think it really mattered what we were using, but just getting your baits down deep. And there was, even though the water temperature, that cold water was down 90 feet, we had fish up above it, up above that thermocline, 70s and 80s, 60 to 80 down. And so that's what our coppers were getting into there. So pretty good report, pretty good fishing. I really didn't have high expectations for this morning, but we ended up landing 9. So we had 1 coho, 1 laker, the rest kings, and then we lost, I think we lost 4 fish today. So the Fremunda cheese fly behind some of those flashers is real good as well. And actually we'll be getting some more of those in a little bit. So if you need Fremunda cheese flies, they'll be here pretty shortly. But yeah, overall, great morning of fishing. We pulled lines at 7:45 so I can get here and do this. But yeah, if you can get down deep, that's the key. And you'll get them for sure. It was good fishing. It's just anywhere from 130 to 150. Let's see. Tiny Strom says, North Lake Michigan, Wisconsin side fishing was good from last week into this one. The northeast breeze past few days pushed warm water in now, though fish are still here, just not as easy to get. Yeah, that's true. The fishing was really good today, but if you don't have all the coppers like we have on the boat, you're not going to have as many lines in that area, and that's going to be a little bit more difficult to get into those fish. So we ran mag divers, and I usually don't run mag divers until I absolutely have to run mag divers, and now I absolutely have to run mag divers. So they were down there, but they took the later bites in the morning. They had to make a few changes of those adjustments before they started working for us, but they did. But yeah, the long coppers were the key. Phil and I, when we were out in the boat today, we were talking about it. Like a few years ago, we were saying, if we can't catch them on a 300, we don't want to catch them. And the next thing you know, we've got more than 1 copper over 400 in the boat. And that's what it really took to catch numerous fish today. So if you have them, run them. That's what's working right now. Let's see. Are the Coast Watch and Seagull apps as a good source for general surface water temperatures, or are they questionable? I haven't looked at them in a while, but if you're looking at like the satellite images, in the past when I'd watch them a lot, if there's cloud cover, they would be inaccurate, and it would be obviously inaccurate. So you would know the difference. But as long as it's clear skies, you usually would get good temperatures. There was more than one as well, and I don't remember. There was one that was worse than the other, but I don't remember which is which. But for the most part, it'll get you in that ballpark. Are you running 11-inch paddles deep? You know what? Today we tried one for a bit, and it only got bit once. Our 8 inches were better for us today. That being said, I know a lot of the charters are running them, especially when they get out deeper than we were today. So just because we didn't have a lot of luck with it, maybe it's just not like a reason I'd say not to use it. In fact, we only ran 1 fly. We only tried a white fly behind our 11-inch paddle. Maybe if we would have tried the bullfrog or the white blue, it would have been better for us. But now is that time of the year when the 11-inch paddles really shine. So I would definitely, get one down deep, usually your deepest rod near the bottom. And that's going to be usually one of the best rods for now, like a rigger down. If you're doing 200, have it down 200. Typically in August, that's one of the best rods. All right. Yes, I have a small boat, can still get them, but not as good when there's 46-degree water offshore. Absolutely. Yeah. When there's 46 degree, it's a lot easier for everybody to get them. No doubt about it. All right. What backing do you use on a 400 copper on a convector 55L, and is a 55L big enough? 55L is plenty big. I spool up 400 coppers on 55Ls every single day. I put on 200 yards of 65-pound braid for backing, and it fits just fine. So actually 225, it'll fit just fine. Check your braid that you're choosing, though, because some braids are just a little bit thicker than others. And so you might be able, if it's a little bit thicker, you might have to back it off a little bit and go maybe just to 200 even. But 400 will fit just fine. In fact, yesterday I spooled up a 450 on a 55, and it worked on the 450 though. We do have to kind of tone it back on the backing. For that one, we dropped down from 65 to 50-pound backing, and then I only put on 150 yards. And that's a pretty snug fit right there. So, and Munda just walked in with his Munda cheese flies, so we'll make those available on the website as soon as I get off of here. So how many you got there?
There's 50 of them.
We only have 50 guys, so they'll make it through the morning probably. So that's all I got for you. If you have any other questions, feel free to keep asking. Otherwise, I'll let you guys get out there and start fishing it yourself. All right. Well, you guys have a good weekend, and thanks for watching. And if you guys need anything, to stop in the store here, check them out. Check out the gear on LakeMichiganAngler.com. Let's see. Here's another question. Any thoughts on how the fishing is at Port Washington and what's working? I only talked to one Port Washington charter from earlier in the week. He had said it was a little tough up there for him, and he wanted to come back down here. But I think that changed. I heard Milwaukee. I had mixed reports from Milwaukee, but more good than bad with some very good reports. So if they're in Milwaukee, they're not too far from port. That means maybe just head a little south and you'll find them. Let's see. Early Bird Adventures says, those cold water custom and pen reels were awesome for the kayak. Yeah, thank you. Those are some of my favorite setups right there for sure. So awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to get back to work here, and good luck fishing this weekend.